All right, action.
All right. Hey guys and gals, Todd from Lowbrow Customs here again. Today we're going to show you a new product we have available on the website as we speak. You can go there right now and order one. It's a intake manifold clamp set for O-ring style intake manifolds as found on 1955 to 1977. Shovelheads and Ironheads both use the same style of intake manifold. This is for O-ring style manifolds where you've got this little groove and you've got an O-ring. They did have a later year one that had a rubber band. This is not for rubber bands. This awesome intake clamp set is all USA made. They are stainless steel, so they won't rust, bust, dust, or break, or all that kind of good stuff. They're gonna last for a long time. And the really neat thing about these is they're gonna be much easier to install. And if you need to service something, which you shouldn't, but if you do, they'll be easier to remove and install on your engine, because of the fact that they have a little barrel style with a short fastener that can be operated with a T-handle or a socket on a ratchet. And if we look at one of the other style clamps that are available for this job, they're kind of wonky. And they have this extra flippy piece in here. I'm not sure why they made them like that. And the really silly thing is once you get this tightened down on the engine, you're gonna have about that much thread hanging out and looking sad. So we want a nice, clean install, ease of installation, ease of maintenance, and that's what you're going to find with this new clamp kit. Let's go ahead and show you installing it on the engine. Okay, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna roll the O-rings onto the manifold. Like so. Do both sides. This way, when we hold the manifold up to the engine, we'll be able to roll them into the grooves because it's darn near impossible to hold the O-ring. See, that side went a little easier. Maybe I was a little over dramatic on the first one, but at any rate, it's almost impossible or very, very difficult to hold the manifold up to the engine with the O-ring not, just setting on the groove, because in reality, the O-ring is just a little smaller than the groove. So now we're ready to introduce the manifold to the engine. For this next portion of the program, I'm going to have my assistant Kyle help, because it's gonna be very difficult for me to hold this up and put the clamp on. If you don't have an assistant, get your wife, your neighbor, your cat. Somebody needs to help. It'll make your life a lot easier. And if you're really cool, then maybe you can do it by yourself. Okay, so I'm just gonna roll the O-rings from the large portion of the manifold into that groove and see how it looks pretty good right there. Then I'm gonna go ahead and grab one of the new clamps, take the bolt completely out of it. Okay, so you're going to take the bolt out, and then you're gonna wanna start this onto the manifold, like so. And then you're going to squeeze it together, but we have to grab our fastener. So we're gonna go ahead and drop the fastener. See, look at that. Look at my helper knows exactly what we need to do. Drop your screw in, squeeze it together, and get it started. And look how easily that started. Okay, so we've got this side pretty good. And then I'm gonna roll that, because when I'm done, I want this to be facing down. So if I ever need to go back and service it, you'll be able to get this off with the frame in the way and everything else in the way. So now we have one on. It's probably okay. Don't let go, but it might be okay, but we're not going to chance it. So again, we're gonna feed this end, because that's what we did on the other side. See how easily that slips over? The other thing about the other style clamps is you're dealing with that very long stud trying to slip it over the manifold. And I'll demonstrate. I can probably do this by myself, even though it was very helpful of my assistant to squeeze it together for me. Now we've got that one started. And we're gonna roll it down to the bottom like we did the other one, like so. And then one of the things you wanna check right about now is you wanna make sure that your manifold, this needs to be 90 degrees in order for everything else to fit properly. You know, you don't want your carburetor down or up on the manifold. And one other thing worth mentioning at this point in time before we go ahead and finish tightening up the clamps, if your manifold doesn't line up very well, it's likely that the engine builder didn't line up the manifold when the cylinder heads were loose. And this is like something you learn from experience. So if you're building a shovelhead engine, when you get your cylinder heads on, before you torque them down, you want to snug up the head bolts. And then there's actually some wiggle room this way on a cylinder head on a shovel. And so what you want to do is you want to have both your cylinder heads on, you want to grab your manifold and hold it up to the cylinder heads and kind of turn them until it's the face where the O-ring is square, and then tighten them down and then go ahead and torque them. So then when it comes time to put your manifold on with your new awesome Lowbrow Custom stainless clamps, everything will line up much better and you'll get a better seal out of it than if one cylinder head is turned this way and the other, and it sounds silly that there's this play, but there is. If you've ever assembled one of these, you know what I'm talking about. And so now all we have left to do is we'll go ahead and spin her around again so you can see. And then we're gonna go ahead and look how easy it is to get to those. We're gonna tighten those down securely, evenly, so that our manifold stays in place. And you'll notice when I get done tightening these, you're not gonna see a whole giant bunch of frickin' threads sticking out the other side like you do on the traditional clamps that are being sold for this job. And you don't need to frickin' crank these down till the cows come home. That feels very tight. And then the last thing you wanna do when you're done tightening them is you can turn your engine back around. Oh, and incidentally, do you notice how nice this thing spins around on this Lowbrow Customs big twin engine stand? If you don't have one of those, you need one of those too. We have those available on the website. So get you one of those. You could spin your engine all around. Hell, you can mount it on a turntable like your kitchen where you got your salt and your pepper and you got a big table full of children and you spin it around and the kids need the pepper. After you get her tightened down, is you want to kind of look in the hole and you want to check your gap. You're going to see where the O-ring is and you're going to go, oh, heck yeah. Man, that's really freaking beautiful. Absolutely perfect, in line. You'll notice we only have very little thread sticking out there. Nice and clean and tidy. So head on over to Lowbrow Customs where you can find this awesome stainless steel intake manifold clamp set along with thousands of other parts to fix your vintage motorcycle. Hell, we even got parts for modern motorcycles. Get on over there to Lowbrow Customs. Woo!